My journey today takes me to Dartmoor, one of the last great wildernesses in the UK, with an inspirational landscape of heather-clad moors and rugged tors. Designated as a national park in 1951, Dartmoor is a vast area of largely untamed countryside of huge richness and diversity, stretching across 368 square miles. It's a landscape quite unlike any other, populated by towering granite tors, mysterious hut circles and standing stones, ancient woodlands, sturdy clapper bridges, rushing streams, Dartmoor ponies, bustling stannery towns and secluded villages. Good morning. Well, today I'm particularly excited about my day because Dartmoor is somewhere I've never really explored properly before. It's completely new to me. Now, save for passing through the area a couple of times in the past, I've not really explored it properly, so I consider today my first proper visit to Dartmoor. And today's tour begins here at Hey Tor. Hey Tor, also known as Haytor Rocks, is a granite tor on the eastern edge of Dartmoor, near the village of Haytor Vale. The name Hey Tor is of relatively recent origin, and is probably a corruption of its old name, and that of the Haytor Hundred, which covered the coastal area between the River Tyne and River Dart, itself now considered to have been named after a lost village located somewhere between Totnes and Newton Abbot. Hey Tor has the form of a typical avenue tor, where the granite between the two main outcrops has been eroded away. Its characteristic shape is a well-known landmark, visible on the skyline from many places in South Devon. Hey Tor is now considered a natural beauty spot, and is arguably Dartmoor's most famous landmark, popular with coach parties and walking groups. It is easily accessible by road, and at a height of 1,499 feet, it provides excellent views of the coastline, the Tyne estuary, and the rolling countryside between. The smaller western outcrop is sometimes known as Lowman. Rock climbers make use of both outcrops. Each one has routes of varying difficulty. The Haytor rocks and quarries are protected from development and disturbance as a site of special scientific interest. From Haytor, I stopped to look at the wonderful panoramic views right across Dartmoor. I was not disappointed with what I could see. Well, I've only just arrived here and I've fallen in love with Dartmoor already. It's absolutely lovely. It actually makes me think back to when I was in my late teens and I was a member of the YHA at that time. I'm sure I used to snub Dartmoor in those days. I think what it was, because I used to meet a lot of other youth hostelers who had also gone travelling all over the UK, and probably a lot of those had gone to Dartmoor, and they probably said to me, "Oh, why don't I try Dartmoor?" And I probably turned around to them and said, "Oh no, it sounds like a really boring place, flat landscape, boring moorlands, nothing exciting." What an ignorant tosser I clearly was back then. It just reinforces it, because being here now, I think it's absolutely beautiful, and I'm so glad I came. I'm looking forward to exploring some more. Hey Tor is beautiful, and it served as a great introduction for me to Dartmoor. Well, now it's time to move on and see the next place. I skirted around the foot of Hey Tor as I walked back towards the car park where my car was waiting for me. As I drove on from Hey Tor, I carried on along the B3387. Soon the road dropped very steeply into a spectacular valley, leading me into a pretty village where I would be exploring next. Whenever I visit an area, the countryside is always an important part of the landscape. But for me, the towns and villages are just as equally important. Now, whilst I'm here in Dartmoor today, I've come here to visit the village of Widdecombe-in-the-Moor. Widdecombe-in-the-Moor lies within the beautiful valley of the East Webburn River and is one of the most picturesque villages in Dartmoor. Its name is thought to originate from Widecombe, which means Willow Valley. According to Widdecombe's official website, there are 196 households in the village, although its large and sprawling parish stretches for many miles and encompasses dozens of isolated cottages and moorland farms. The parish is still largely a farming community, although upland stock farming was never easy, and it is particularly difficult at the moment. However, farmers are a resourceful lot and engage in a variety of activities to supplement the farming. Tourism is a major source of income for Widdecombe today, and within a small area of the village there are several gift shops, including a National Trust shop, 2 cafes and 2 pubs, the Old Inn and the Rugglestone. The village is well known for Widdecombe Fair, held annually and celebrated by a folk song of the same name, featuring Old Uncle Tom Cobley and all. Its words were first published in 1880, and the characters from the song are featured in many of the souvenirs on sale in the local shops. Also popular are the traditional Toby jugs, a type of mug shaped as a 3-dimensional caricature of a person's head, sometimes fictional, sometimes a celebrity. The church house, adjacent to Sexton's cottage, was built around 1540. It's the finest surviving example of a church house in Devon, if not in the whole country. In the 18th century, it was used as an almshouse for aged men and women of the parish. In the early 19th century, it became the workhouse or poorhouse, and the first floor was used as a school. The parish purchased the church house from Devon County Council in 1935, and it was later presented to the National Trust. It is now leased to the village of Widdecombe and used as a village hall. The Church of St Pancras received the nickname Cathedral of the Moor because of its 120-foot tower and relatively large capacity for such a small village. The church was originally built in the 14th century in the late Gothic style, using locally quarried granite. It was enlarged over the following 2 centuries, partly on the proceeds of the local tin mining trade. The church was badly damaged in the Great Thunderstorm of 1638, apparently struck by ball lightning. An afternoon service was taking place at the time, and the building was packed with approximately 300 worshippers. 4 of them were killed, around 60 injured. According to local legend, the Great Thunderstorm was caused by the village being visited by the devil. I've really enjoyed looking around Widdecombe-in-the-Moor. It's a lovely little village. Well, I've just got time to see one more place today. Leaving Widdecombe, I drove along the B3387 back up the steep hill. Soon I turned sharp left along a lane and headed towards my last stop for today. I was walking along just now and I could feel some drops of water on the back of my trousers. I looked and I thought, where's that come from? And I suddenly thought, oh my God! I stopped suddenly, took off my rucksack, opened it. I hadn't put the lid on my water bottle on properly, so it leaked all through the bottom of my rucksack. You see, I'm still a tosser. Never mind. So I've just left my rucksack in the car to try and dry off if it can. So I'm at my last location, and I'm here at Hound Tor. Hound Tor is a place on Dartmoor that is surrounded by history and mystery. The whole area in and around the Tor is famed for its ghosts, and nearby are the ancient dwellings and graves of their time. The Tor itself consists of a splendid rock pile that is said by some to have been the inspiration for Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's famous novel, The Hound of the Baskervilles. Hound Tor is another example of one of Dartmoor's avenue tors, as it consists of 2 separate rock masses, which lie on a northwesterly alignment. The highest point of the Tor is on the southwesterly pile, which stands at 1,358 feet. Hound Tor was another of Dartmoor's distinctions that was regarded by early antiquarians as being a ritual site where the Druids held their pagan ceremonies. There was one story of how a schoolmaster visited the Tor and had a seizure, during which he began to speak in Hebrew. The man died 3 days later. It has been suggested that in medieval times there were Jewish men working in the mines, and therefore the schoolmaster could have met the ghost of one of these. Sometime in the 1960s, a motorist is said to have seen the apparition of a cavalier, who walked into the road and then vanished. Also in the area have been sightings of a large black dog that appears and disappears at will. In October 1995, one of the stacks, known as the Hound, came crashing down. Nobody knows what caused the collapse, but it is estimated that around 500 tons of granite fell from the Tor. There was a tradition that the Hound was a dog that had been turned to stone by witches. To the southeast of the Tor are the remains of Hound Tor, an abandoned medieval village. It is believed that the village was abandoned due to plague in the 14th century. Today, Hound Tor is a popular venue for rock climbing and bouldering, and most days you can see people attached to ropes dangling from its granite outcrops and stacks. Hound Tor also has the distinction of being one of the 13 Tors which the Scatter Rock Brewery has named their ales after. And Hound Tor was actually another location once used in a Doctor Who story. Way back in 1974, Tom Baker came here filming one of his very first stories as Doctor Who, and they filmed a story called The Sontaran Experiment, which was all filmed entirely on location here at Hound Tor. So that's Hound Tor, and I must say, the little I've seen of Dartmoor so far today, I am liking it very much. Hound Tor was a wonderful spot to end my day, and being here today only reinforced how unbelievable it was that I never explored Dartmoor before. But now I was looking forward to seeing more.